Everyone, I'm Kareem Jackson. I am live on this set with you again, live in the Philippines. I want to say hello and thank you for checking out my videos. Hope that you're enjoying this fantastic Charmed Life series. This is part number 4, and this is actually Imagine Life Without Any Racism. Can you imagine life without any racism? That's part 4 in our Charmed Life series, 50 times earnings. Hope you enjoy. So imagine you wake up in the morning and there's no racism, there's no discrimination, there's no cops killing anybody, there's no one clenching their purse, there's no one following you at the store, there is no minority supplier council, there is no minority supplier certification, there is no discrimination, there's no redlining, there's no wondering if you can be this or be that or meet this person or meet that person. It's all gone. And not just for Black Americans, we're talking all minorities, for women, for gays, for lesbians, for Jews, for disabled, for obese, for ugly people. There's just no discrimination. Imagine that for just 1 second. Now, in part 1, we took you through $500 a month lifestyle in the Philippines, which is totally possible if you embrace the lifestyle. Then we had part 2, that took you through the dollar versus the peso conversion rate and the 50 times earnings and what that really could mean for you, more than the money, what the 50 times earnings and conversion rate could really mean to changing your life and giving you an opportunity to live the life you want to live. Maybe not do more, but maybe do a little bit less. Then part 3 was making it happen. We took you through taking the leap and showed you the 10 steps that I have personally taken, along with a lot of my other friends here, that to take and change their life. So now here in part 4, what would you do if you could imagine, if you could wake up in the morning and there was no racism? Imagine. Okay. So, in the Philippines, one of the greatest advantages is that here, there's no discrimination, there's no racism. We know for Black Americans right now, it's crazy in the States right now. They're being shot, killed, maimed, and been jailed, and all kinds of horrible stuff. And those of you who are American like myself, we know it's better now than probably ever in history. It's just that now with social media, the whole world is able to see it instantly. My God, but the truth of it is, it's better now than ever. So sometimes getting away, taking hiatus like I did, for example, writing that book, taking that leap, becoming a chef or whatever it may be what the doctor ordered for you to kind of release that anxiety, that stress and that animosity and that total stressful burden that racism in America puts on Blacks and all minorities. Because the truth of it is, in this part 4 series, imagining if there was no racism, this is not just about Black people. This is about women and gays and lesbians and disabled and handicapped, the elderly, perhaps the health, the people with health issues. Those are all minorities in America. Jews, hello, those are all minorities in America. So all of those people can relate to this video, I think. But specifically, let's focus on the Black perspective because I know a lot about that one. So, imagine right now you wake up and boom, there's no racism, there's no discrimination. So you've been conditioned now to overachieve. You have that, I think Oprah Winfrey and her partner Van Zandt talks about it as inadequacy complex or inadequacy. So you've lived this life of inadequacy and you're actually now able to use that to your advantage. You've been sprinting the mile for your whole life. You overachieved in school. You knew there's certain things that you couldn't do, couldn't say, places you couldn't go, people you could never meet, things you possibly thought that you could never be. But of course we've broken down a lot of those walls right now. But imagine now you're conditioned. So when you get to a country, to a place where there is no racism, my God. The power of 50 times earnings and the entire Charmed Life takes on an entirely new paradigm because now you are actually at the advantage because the world looks at Black Americans and most minorities as being exactly what they are: powerful, smart, ambitious, underdogs. So when you go into a situation where there's no racism and you walk in the room, perhaps as a Black publisher like me, now I have an advantage. They're wanting to meet me. I don't have to prove anything to you. I don't need minority certification. I don't need 3 years bank statements. I don't need to prove anything to anyone. I walk in, I perform, I do what I'm supposed to do, and I get my rewards. So that's a complete change. Everyone knows that you can relate, that you've been driving while black. We've all done that. You've had to overachieve for a job. You know the guy next to you, it may not be black or a minority. For example, for women, for example, you know they're not as qualified as you, but they're competing with you, or they're working side by side with you, and there's this superiority complex only because you're black. And you know this, you're used to it. We are bred, we are raised by our parents to know that we have to overachieve. Most of us know we can't just not do anything to be able to succeed in the States. We need college, military, entrepreneurship, ambition. We need something, because the truth of it is that it's against us. We are used to, we are conditioned to work harder. So imagine you are moving to a place, you're changing your life, you're going for the whole Zen thing, and then when you land on that plane in Manila airport, you get off the airplane, you walk down, and the first thing you see is, hello sir, how are you? Hey, welcome. Like, there's no clutching their bags, there's no animosity, there's no stress. Then when you go to that first meeting, you're not a black guy or a woman or anything like that. You're a professional. You're at the top of your game. You're good at what you do. You're not having to prove anything. So I want you to imagine now, for minorities that are going through all of that burden, there is an actual anxiety, an everyday cloud, a stress that is on you every day when you feel that you're not good enough, when you feel that you have to do more, when you know that you are qualified but you cannot get in the door. There is a life of stress, high blood, diabetes, anxiety, and of course stress. Those are all things that contribute to a lot of health issues for blacks and minorities in America. And it's because of the lifestyle. Here, the reason it's stress-free and the reason everyone loves it is because here you are not dealing with that. You're not a nigga anymore. You're not a woman anymore. You're not handicapped anymore. You're none of those things. You are just what you are. You're not walking in and they're thinking, oh, okay, well, gosh, you gotta look this way or look that way. It's no longer exists for you. So I want you to imagine the world without racism. When you think about it, what would you do? What could you be? I believe that Oprah Winfrey, she's great, she's done great, but imagine if she wasn't a black, large woman. Oh my God, that's like a triple minority right there. And she was poor too, so that's probably a minority, low income thing right there. She's got 4 minorities against her right there. So imagine she'd be a Nefertiti or something like that, a queen. If she was not from Black America, she would be further. A Kobe Bryant, he'd be a billionaire probably with his talent. But imagine having to overachieve your entire life from when you're a kid. Imagine that that's all gone and now you're trained. But when you land in that community, when you land in this great, emerging, powerful country, now you are on a playing field that you've never experienced before. I guarantee you, you've never experienced it. You've never been able to not have to, say it correctly, not have to prove yourself to get in the room, to do whatever it is you do. Whether it's an employee, an entrepreneur, whether you're an artist, whether you're a professional, you are now going to be actually 50 times more ahead and more prepared than the average American, especially a white-washed American, when you get into a place where there's no racism. They actually are coming in at a disadvantage because you're already used to adapting to cultures. You're already used to being a certain way and being respectful and being a minority. You're used to it already. You don't have a superiority complex on your head right here. You're not a walking dollar, as they say in the Philippines. You're walking in and usually Black Americans are friends. Now, this came from a research study that we did for the Philippines Magazine International, where we showcased expat lifestyle. What we did was, we spent 6 months last year, in the past 12 months ago, and we were trying to showcase the high-end Shangri-La lifestyle. We're trying to showcase the province, Bohol, Tagaytay, Palawan lifestyle, and of course the Metro Manila lifestyle. What we did after interviewing hundreds of expats who live, work, or actually invest in the Philippines is we started realizing a trend that Black expats, especially black Americans, had a completely different experience, a completely different story, a completely different list of charmed life things that they were talking about. They didn't experience the bad relationships that a lot of white expats experience. They had great relationships. They experienced better experiences in their jobs and in their investments in the Philippines because they actually come into the Philippines as a minority. They're used to being humble. They're used to being, in that world. So when they come into the Philippines, the black Americans are usually not the intimidating ones. We're the ones that are actually nicer and cooler and more laid back, and we play basketball, we like music, we like fried chicken. So those are all positive things here. In America, it can be a negative thing. Filipinos love watermelon. You can buy watermelon for 5 pesos or 20 pesos right on the street anywhere. So it's not a negative connotation. Fried chicken, oh my God, it's like a national pastime to stop somewhere and have fried chickens, fried gizzard, fried chitlins, we have pig ears, which toko baboy. So there's a lot of parallels. Having a good time, wanting to sing out loud at the bar, hey, we love that. So do they. Karaoke is the #1 pastime with your pollutant chicken wings and fried chicken, and of course, some side of watermelon is singing. So there's a lot of connections that you're going to be able to make as a black American and a minority American in general in the Philippines. One is we love the tropical climate. And it is hot right now. Even though there's a typhoon outside, perhaps you can hear the rain, it is still very hot. Again, I wanted to say to you is that we did that and we realized that blacks had a different experience. So we did another piece, and actually a special edition called the Minority Success International and Minority Success Philippines. That piece is what came about in this Charmed Life, part #4, Imagine a World with No Racism. Because in that piece, we saw black Americans that had completely different experiences. So we wanted to flip it around to talk to Americans and blacks that have not ever been abroad, have never been to the Philippines, never been out of the country, to realize, truthfully, all that crap you're dealing with, it's only there. If you go abroad, there's no racism, there's no discrimination, no one's looking down on you, no one's threatened by you, no one, when the police pull up on you, they're not intimidated by you anywhere else in the world except for there. So understand that that is an American issue, it's an American disease. It's nothing. I love my country, I love being an American, but the racism thing has got to stop. But until then, take a hiatus and enjoy the Philippines for a while. Take that year, as we talked about in part 3. Take the leap, make it happen. Even if it's just for 1 year, you could make it happen. You could change your life. Could you imagine? I'm sorry, I'm so hot, I'm getting excited, but if you could imagine getting off the plane and all of a sudden you were not a black or a nigga or a black male or anything like that anymore. You are a professional coach, a professional business person, you're an entrepreneur, you are a vice president, you are a call center director, whatever it is, that's what you are. You're Kareem, you're Shaniqua, Shantae, Tyrone, that's what you are. So when it comes down to it, I want you to actually just think for yourself when it comes to you thinking about the change you want to make in your life. If we want to reach that charmed life perspective, I want you to think about that, especially if you are a black American or any minority. That when you leave the country, when you go somewhere like the Philippines, the #1 biggest change you're going to feel in your heart is that you are no longer going to be burdened with that cloud, with that fog around you of being a black or minority American. So when it comes down to it, I want you to think about that, put that into your incantation. I want you to take that leap and make it happen. I want you to imagine that there's no anxiety, there's no stressful lifestyle around you, that you are free, that you can do anything you want, so you can get ready and you can make some real preparations and take care of the added advantages that being a black abroad actually brings to the table. Because a lot of things happen for me that are because I'm black American in a positive way. I get a lot of access to celebrities and politicians and insights and stories probably because I'm a black American and they know that, hey, I'm cool. I don't mind eating a little fried chicken. I don't mind having some MP Light or some gin or having a Red Horse with you. I'm not doing a show like that. I can relate to you. not just hang out with you and be cool and like it because it's cheap or I can afford to do XYZ, but I can really have a good time. My friends can shoot little hoops with you too. We can play a little basketball, play a little volleyball. At the end of the day, those are all advantages. Anyway, once again, Kareem Antonio Jackson, I am on the set live in the Philippines. That was part number 4, A World Without Racism. That is part of the Charmed Life series. You can always see more at KareemAntonio.com. You can also see www.thephilippinesmagazine.com as well. Thanks for looking at my YouTube channel. Thank you for looking at the iPads. I will see you soon. But again, you can always message me. Remember, sometimes the burden is too much and you need a break, and there is nothing wrong with that. I took a break. It changed my life, because I was able to live in a world, have a charmed life without racism. One of the biggest advantages of living as an expat. Thank you again. Talk to you later.